subject development is both borne by the teacher, the one who's doing the assessment, and it's borne by the student. But there are ways of grading objectively. And I won't go into all of that except to say that the standard that I follow is the standard that was developed by the College Board and has been used in standardized tests, SATs among them, AP exams, which I read for the College Board for a period of 20-some years. I haven't read for the last 5 years, but I may actually be asked to go again. So that's a useful thing for me to have that. The College Board uses a rubric which is not based on norms, although I think the scores tend to create the normative, competitive edge that you were speaking about. They're used that way. When we go sit down at a table to read exams, we don't grade them. We assess them. Scoring is not grading. We're told that over and over. And our appeal is to the set of standards that are set up. The set of standards that are set up are known to advanced placement teachers or English language arts teachers who are preparing their students to take these exams. And there's intended to be an interface between what's taught in high school and what's taught in college. So as a consequence, they have teachers both at the secondary level and at the college university level who deal with those same students. What do we expect from the students that you're sending to us, and how can we help you prepare your students for coming into a college classroom? Having said that, there is a great deal of misunderstanding as to how grading ought to be done in the community at large. I would say that the biggest misunderstanding has to do with what you do with grammar and punctuation. Is grading simply a function of mechanics? Can you somehow assess a person's abilities coming or going simply on the basis of whether he or she can use a semicolon correctly, avoid a comma splice, manage to get all the participles undangled, and that sort of thing? And the answer is no. You can't do that. And yet, whenever we hear calls for improving writing skills, that's usually what things address. Not thinking skills, which I think are far more important. Not student engagement with material, which I think is far more important. Not motivation to care about what you have to say as a writer, and care that your audience understands what you have to say as a writer, which is what I think the holistic approach tends to address. Right in the slide. 2 more minutes? Whoa. But you don't have to use it all. Okay, well, we'll pass it on to 4 minutes.
Dr. Finney made a number of interesting comments and observations, and even some of them that I agree with. But on the assumption that disagreement is more interesting than agreement, I'll focus my remarks mainly on some disagreements. I'd like to begin with first principles by asking a very basic question. What are grades for, anyway? Why do we give them? The purpose of grades is to convey a specific kind of information, to indicate the extent to which a student has learned the content or skills expected in a particular course. The grade is intended to convey this information both to the student, him or herself, as well as to external audience, such as graduate schools or employers. We all know roughly how this works, and for the most part, I think Dr. Finney's description of the letters is about right. An A means that a student has done an outstanding job of learning the course content or skills. A B means that he or she has done an average job of it. A C means that he or she has done a merely adequate job, weak or defective in certain respects, but sufficient to pass. D means that you put in a good effort. You were in class and did the work that was asked of you, but the results were unfortunately inadequate. And F means that either you really didn't understand a thing or you just weren't trying at all. Now, this is what a grade is and what it does. It suggests several conclusions. First, we don't actually need to worry about the Houghton grade scale. That's because nobody really cares about it. I can't even tell you what it is, I have to admit. What we care about, and what you care about, and also what external audiences care about, are the letters, which are, after all, what appear in your transcript. And as long as they mean what they're supposed to mean, and what everyone assumes they mean, I think they do. The numbers are really just irrelevant. Second, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't change the Houghton grade scale anyway. We should, because it's just weird. If grades are supposed to convey information, then we need to speak the same language that everyone else does. It's as if I insisted that the word pen really meant pizza, and went around saying, I'm eating a pen for dinner tonight. That sentence is perfectly grammatical. I can insist on having my own private language and claim that the sound pen really ought to mean pizza, but everybody else would just think I'm a little strange. You're right. Third, it also means that if we do change the Houghton grade scale, we shouldn't adopt Dr. Finney's proposed scale either, which suffers from exactly the same problem. It's weird. The point of the grades is not to come up with some kind of platonic ideal of the grade. It's to convey information. The rest of the country works in units of 10 for the excellent reason that units of 10 are very easy to work with. We should too. Fourth, because grades are supposed to convey this information about student performance, we should expect that more often than not, our grade distributions will indeed resemble a normal bell curve. That's because normally some students will do outstanding work, some will do merely average, and by definition, quite a few will do average work. A system in which all students received the same grade, whether it was an A or an F, would convey no useful information at all, neither to the student nor to the external audience. It simply isn't the case that everyone is equally good at academic work, any more than they're equally good at playing the piano or flying an airplane